Hey everyone, it's me, Aaron, Professor Thorgy, your guide to all things geeky, and welcome to another episode of Comic Class, the show every single week on this channel where we just geek out about comic books, and hoo boy, is it ever a large week for comics. This might be one of the biggest weeks as far as giant releases go that we have had in a long time. Over at Marvel, the brand new Runaways book is starting up, and I know so many people are looking forward to that. I can't wait to talk about it. And then there's the Secret Empire Omega issue, which wraps up all the loose ends from Secret Empire and finally puts that storyline to rest. And then over at DC, the second issue of Dark Knight's Metal comes out, and that's where all the action really starts to amp up and where the story really kicks in. And then there's the Harley Quinn 25th anniversary. Oh, wouldn't it be fun to do a little celebration of one of comic book fans' favorite characters? I'm not going to be talking about any of those because, as you can probably tell from my voice, and especially if you follow me on Twitter, you know I'm sick as a dog this week. I will not go into details because the details are icky and gross. But yeah, I'm not doing well, and even though there are all those releases and more, I haven't gotten to read any of them because I could barely finish that sentence without destroying my camera with phlegm. So, what I want to do today, because it's been a long time since I had to skip a week for comic class, I didn't want to leave you guys with nothing, I decided, you know what, once a month on this channel, we do the Indy Spotlight, where I come in here and give you a quick little highlight of something outside of the world of Marvel and DC. And I wanted to spotlight something fun, something uplifting, something that really kind of lifted our spirits. So I'm going to go with a brand new book from Image Comics called Scales and Scoundrels. Now, Scales and Scoundrels is from Sebastian Gerner, and this is actually the first book that he's ever written, but he's not new to the comic book industry. He is actually a long-time editor for both Marvel and Image Comics, and most of the stuff that he's edited has been darker, more serious stuff. Like, he's done a lot of stuff with Rick Remender, who is known for kind of depressing storylines, so it makes it so surprising that the first thing that he decided to write was so darn fun. This is actually an all-ages book, at least issue 1 is. I would totally recommend this to kids and to families everywhere, but it's mainly for all those people out there who love fantasy, who love Dungeons and Dragons, especially Dungeons and Dragons, because this actually opens up with them playing a Magic the Gathering style card game in there. So it's for anybody out there who loves to just sit around with their group of friends, just brainstorming these fantasy worlds and going out on big epic quests. And it stars this girl named Louvain Dare, and when it opens up, she is playing this card game with this group of rogues, and she wins, and everybody accuses her of cheating, so it breaks out into a big fight, but then all of a sudden the tavern that they're in just bursts into flames, and she comes walking out of there like the Terminator, but she's got glowing dragon eyes, and everybody's like, okay, something's up with her, and she just effortlessly just floats out of there before anybody can catch her, and then as the storyline goes along, you realize she is part dragon. You don't know like how exactly she became this, but there is a quick 2-page flashback that's kind of just a dream of hers. Like you just see images coming back, and it's actually kind of gorgeous how they put it all together. I really do love the art in this book because it's not overly serious, it's not overly dark, but it's also not very detailed, which a lot of people normally consider to be a negative. I think it actually works incredibly well for this because it helps to keep that lighter tone. Like it goes hand in hand, especially with the coloring. This is one of the few books out there where I really can applaud the coloring on it. And I actually had to stop and notice it. But it goes hand in hand with coloring to really complement the style of story that's trying to tell. And as I said, there is this 2-page spread that really just shows all these images just showing her past, and it makes her a very mysterious character. It makes you realize, oh, she didn't start out as a dragon. She was a normal person, but how did she become a dragon? And I love that there's no like sense of, oh, I'm cursed, I'm trying to break this. She actually kind of digs her life. Like she's not like, oh, I'm part dragon, I must hide this from everyone. She's like, I'm a badass part dragon lady, but, sorry, sick break number 1. But she's like, yeah, I'm a badass dragon lady. I get to just roam around the countryside. Nobody's holding me down. There's no rules. I get to do whatever I want. And I think that's incredibly fun because so often in these types of stories, when you see someone with some big epic power, it is treated more like a curse. So I kind of enjoy seeing somebody who just kind of has fun with it. but you do get a sense that there's some kind of a curse still there because this is an old school dragon. Now these days, dragons can kind of be whatever they want to be, but back in the day, dragons were big, greedy hoarders. Like, they all had their big treasure piles, and that's what she's after. She doesn't have a treasure pile. So she's just going around the countryside just trying to get money. That's why she's going around gambling. That's why she's going around trying to steal cash wherever she can. It's because she wants to build up a giant treasure pile of her own, because that's what dragons do. It's kind of almost like an instinct of hers. She just needs to do it. But you see that she still has her humanity in there. There is a moment in which she has lost everything except for one coin, and then she turns down an alleyway and sees just a bunch of poor beggars there, and this little girl comes up to her, and she's like, I'm not giving you this coin. Turn the page, she gave her the coin, now she's just walking away. So it's like, oh, you still got a heart in that big scaly body of yours. Oh, we know it. We can all cheer for you. But as this goes on, she actually ends up meeting with a prince from a foreign land, and he wants her help to go on a quest. So it's like, okay, so you're building a whole team together. We're gonna get a bunch of other adventures in there. And it ends on kind of a cliffhanger where you see who the big antagonist of the whole thing is going to be, and it made me kind of go, oh, I actually am really intrigued to see what will happen when these two end up confronting. So I don't want to give too much away, not that there are really any big twists and turns in here, but this is only at issue 1, so I feel like if I reveal too much of it, I will have revealed everything you could possibly read. And this is a book that I do really feel like anybody out there who is really into fantasy, anybody who ever sits around with their friends and just plays a game of D&D, this really is a fun, all-ages book for anybody who matches that description. And if you wouldn't consider yourself that type of person, however, you do read a bunch of comics, especially indie comics, if you ever checked out Nimona, then I would say this kind of feels like the spiritual successor to it. So far at issue 1, I'm getting that same feeling I got when I started reading Nimona, and that was a breakaway smash hit. So for anybody out there who enjoyed that book and is looking for something similar to it, this is the book that I would recommend checking out next. So again, it's a really fun book, really cool concept, love the character designs, the artwork works hand in hand with the type of storyline, and it does set up a pretty strong ending that makes me want to see where it's going. So again, if you are into fantasy at all, I highly recommend checking out Scales and Scoundrels. So that is it. This was a super short episode. Thank you guys for understanding, but I want to still give you guys something. And next week, knock on wood, there we go, that's why I have all this around me, for good luck. I'm incredibly superstitious, that's what all this is for. It's not that I'm a giant man-child who just can't let go of any toys. But next week, knock on wood, if I'm feeling better, we will also be doing the Secret Empire Q&A, so I will hopefully be putting out a video calling for all your questions on that. But again, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next week when I am feeling way better. Knock on wood. Bye, everyone.